Brett Perigo, tonight's second place finisher. Plenty of fans here, Brett, and a solid second place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terror Boys over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with, talk to. I really like them.
How are you doing tonight, man?
Hey, I'm talking here. You know who you're talking to? Macho Man! I'm on my way to Monday Night Raw.
The second one.
Your choice.
It's a trap.
I feel like it is. I feel like he's setting up fights in the front stretch is what he's trying to do.
Grove Speedway. We've got Devin Gordon with us.
At Keen Motorsports Shop here with Kyle Keen.
Sitting here with Sean Keen. We're going to talk a little bit about racing history.
Yep.
What's going on? It is April 7th, 2025. I am Jimmy here with Jay-Z, Jeremy Zarfos, and Chris Lynn will be in maybe later. We got a wonderful show planned for you, even on this rainy weekend that we had. We got Brad from Vertical for Life. He will be here. We're going to bring him on in a few minutes. We're going to talk real quick about the second annual music festival that they're having and everything else that Vertical for Life. Big supporters of us. We try to support them. We want to showcase what he's doing. He's working really hard. We're talking a little bit before the show. He's a busy guy trying to get this all together. So we're going to talk about that. Talk about some of our others, other people that have supported us throughout the way. We'll have Ricky Peterson on around 8:30. He drives the number 98 Sesame Seed 6 car. We'll be bringing him on. We'll talk to him for a little bit, and then we'll also recap some of the big news. Jacob Allen out of the 1A, the Williams Grove, whatever on Friday, trying to get that in. Lincoln got their race in, and we'll talk about much more. So, JC, man, how are you?
Man, I'm fired up. I'm ready to go for tonight. Excited to have a guest on. It's been a couple weeks since we've had a guest on, and someone I don't know a whole lot about. So I'm excited to get to know Ricky and get to hear from Brad here in a minute as well. So excited for the show.
And see all you guys in chat. What's going on, Santos? Nick Lowe, Matthew Bird. What's going on? We're hanging out with him on. He said Happy National Beer Day. Beer Day. Cheers. I was hanging out with him on Beer Hill a little bit on Friday. Steph, what's going on? Actually made it before the show ends. Randy Cobb. Good evening, Jay-Z, Jimmy, and maybe Chris. Matt Trace, gentlemen, how's it hanging? Low and to the left. Mandy, how's it going? Daniel Lee, James Magby, Flyers fan 18125. My first time being able to listen live. Love the podcast.
Nice.
Thank you so much. That's what we want to hear.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, we really do. So yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. Trevor Stover, thank you, tuning in. But yeah, let's bring in Brad. Let's bring him in right now. Brad Wetherbee with Vertical for Life. Brad, how are you?
I'm good, guys. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Very good, very good.
So you got the second annual Vertical for Life Musical Festival coming up on May 3rd. Tell us a little bit about that. But I guess before that, you know, if you listen to us every week, we try to talk about it. But give us a little bit of an overview of what Vertical for Life is.
Okay, so Vertical for Life, right now, we are a not for profit organization. We raise money through the power of music to prevent veteran suicide. However, that may happen. That can be through, for example, May 3rd's music festival. All the proceeds go to benefit Cover 6 Canines. They help train my dog, my service dog. They train dogs for. They will pair you with a dog. They for veterans and first responders at absolutely no charge. Um, I also work with Roots for Boots. I book music for them and promote for them. Um, and there's a lot of different aspects to it. And I'm working with a couple veterans right now, trying to get them the help that they need through the VA and whatever other sources we can come up with.
So let's talk a little bit about this music festival. I'm going to bring up the graphic here really quick. It's May 3rd. Entry is $15, and you said all the profits goes to help the what was it called again? I'm sorry.
Cover 6 Canines.
Cover 6 Canines. You got to have a service dog demo there.
Yes.
You also have. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, around 5 o'clock, we have Cover 6 approves certain dogs to come up that are in the program, and they show a couple different stages of it. And we do a little demonstration to show you how the dogs move, how different tests there, because every dog is different depending on what the veteran or the first responder needs.
It's awesome. Haley Nelson, Matt Jameson, AJ Cassette, Dave Gates, Steele, Colt Wilburban, and Hank the Buffalo, all there as well. Gates open at 11:30 a.m. 80 Glendale Drive in Mechanicsburg is where this will be at. You got a lot of partners here. You got Middle AF. You got Big Bottom Brewery. Cover 6 Canines, obviously. Yeah, so it's just we all think it's great. That's why we met last year and we love what you're doing here with Vertical for Life. I think it's a great cause and doing it in a very unique way.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been a ride. This whole thing started on a whim last year. Just went from what I have gone through personally and then jumped into that. If anybody can get their hands on a PA Musician magazine, we're on the cover and have a 2-page cover story in there this month. If not, you can go to pamusician.net and that'll be uploaded soon. And you guys can, look at it there too and go through the whole article. Josh does a really great job. You can see some of the production pictures from last year and whatnot.
And I'll tell you what, the Colt Wilbur band, Santos in the chat actually said that they're fire. And Matt Jameson, I actually used to work with Matt Jameson, know him pretty well, and ran into him like last year randomly at a place Chris and I stopped in at actually, and they were like, "How the hell you know that? You know it?" I'm like, "Yeah." Matt's a hell of a great guy, does a great job singing, doing what he loves. So this is a great event for a great cause and some great entertainment. You can't ask for anything better. So, that graphic one more time, May 3rd.
Yes.
Yep, May 3rd at 11:30. We do have food trucks on site. Big Bottom Brewery will be there serving alcohol. Otherwise, it is BYOB. And we just want people to come out, have a good time, hang out with us, learn what Cover 6 is about, learn what we're about, and support a great cause.
Love it. 3 p.m. until.
Colt Wilbur will be on. They're closing the night out. They go on about 7. They'll be done around 8:30, between 8:30 and 9, probably.
Beautiful. All right. And if anybody needs to get any more information, where can they go?
They can go to www.verticalforlife.com. You can make donations on there. We do have the shop. Unfortunately, some of our hats are out. We went through a lot of the hunters' hats. As soon as we can get them in, we will be doing them. Can't really tell on mine. All our hats are embroidered. We do them right in house. So
Awesome,
Um,
man. Well, Brad, we appreciate you a ton. A big fan of ours and supporter of ours, and we
Absolutely.
hope that we can bring light to this and continue to help it grow. And with the mission that you're on, my friend, and we definitely appreciate you, Jimmy. We'll go ahead and finish up.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely get to verticalforlife.com. You can do some donations there as a donations tab. There's also opportunities to help volunteer, and help. I'm sure. I know
Always.
Brad's always looking for help with any of this stuff. So, and just in general, you know what I mean. Just it's a great cause to help with. And so you can do that. Like he said, he has the shop there. All means to be able to reach everybody here with Vertical for Life. With Brad here is there as well. And yeah, just Brad. Any other last words before we let you get out of here? We really appreciate you joining us. And
Oh no, man. Anytime. I really appreciate you guys and all the work you've done. Um, we're very proud to be a partnership with you guys. Uh, Out at the track, hopefully I'll be out soon. Probably not till after May, but there's a lot that goes in. But it's one of those come up and see me. Everybody who knows me knows where I'm at.
We know how to find
Not
you, my
hard to
friend.
find.
No doubt.
all right, Brad. Thanks so much for joining us. We're gonna let you go, but again, May 3rd. One more time, May 3rd. At 80 Glendale Drive in Mechanicsburg. $15. Go get your tickets now at verticalforlife.com. Big Bottom Brewery will be there with alcohol, and then a lot of bands, service dog demo. Just a great cause, great time. Sounds like a great day. Hopefully, you guys have good weather. Weather's a big hot topic right now, so fingers
I'm
crossed that
hoping
you
it.
have good
It
weather
is
for it.
rain or shine. Everything's under cover, so
Okay, well that's good. That's not bad then. So,
bring a
uh,
sweatshirt or buy one.
there you go. All right, Brad. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for everything that you do.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you,
Appreciate you.
Brad Wetherbee. Everybody, Vertical for Life, man. We talk about it. It's great what he does. Working with all those with all these different organizations to try to help veterans, um, you know, reacclimate themselves and everything. So it's great what they do, for sure. So um, this is a good time. Also, we want to kind of take a couple of minutes here to kind of just kind of quick spotlight on some of the other people that we've had back us to get to where we're at before we get Ricky in here around 8:30. Figured this would be a good time because Vertical for Life's one. They're the one right now that we've really been working with a lot, and um, just everything that they do. But we also had a couple other sponsors and some drivers that just reached out and supported us as well. We want to just take a couple minutes to shout them out. Um, First of all, Gutshaw's Automotive. They were one that kind of reached out of the blue. Kirk Gutshaw, owner of Gutshaw's Automotive for over 21 years. They are a full service auto repair shop in Middletown, PA. They do everything from engine diagnostics, drivability problems, tune-ups, brakes, mufflers, exhaust systems, wheel alignments, tires, brakes, anything that you may need. Gutshaw's Automotive is the place to go. Definitely check them out. Thanks, Kurt and Gutshaw's Automotive, for supporting us. And yeah, Jay-Z, any other thoughts on Gutshaw's there?
No, great family. Got to know them a little bit here the last year or two. Following, Chase's career a little bit. 358 driver. Got to see him, a couple races this year. One of the best paint. As far as every time he brings a new car to the track, one of the best looking race cars out there. So, support Gutshaw's Automotive if you're nearby. Obviously, they family owned business, local. They do a great job. So, appreciate those guys and the support they've done for us over the last year or so.
Absolutely. And I think were they hiring? I saw that they were hiring
I think
again.
they
So
were. I don't know if they filled that. I saw him this weekend. I forgot to ask if they filled that role or not, but always looking for good technicians.
yeah, if you're a technician, you're a good mechanic in the area, give them a shout. And then we also want to give a shout out to Keen Motorsports and Kyle Keen. He was the first one to. We did a video with him, a shop tour, a couple years ago. Now I guess it's 2 years ago now that we did it, and friend of the show before we even started the show, and just has been a supporter of ours from day one. Um, you have a really good. You had the chance to go out with Kyle out to Keen Parts, which is no relation. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so pretty interesting actually. Kyle invited me out. Oh, no sound. We
You're good. I hear you.
no, it's a comment there.
Who has no sound?
Let me
Having
see.
a bad connection, or is it me? I don't know. Everything. This happened last week.
It's one of those.
I don't know.
Facebook's good.
Brandon says he hears us. Thanks, Brandon. Yeah, I don't know.
Seems all right.
Again,
Anyway,
hey, and listen, if you're watching on Facebook, we had this problem last week where it glitched out for a few minutes in the beginning. So if you are having a problem, feel free to jump over to our YouTube, or we have Twitch as well. So it
seems to
usually
be
comes
okay.
back in. It usually comes
Yeah.
back in. I don't know what it is with Facebook, but we appreciate you guys letting us know.
So Kyle Keen, good buddy of mine. I met Kyle on iRacing actually, and the journey has kind of rolled from iRacing to a 305 to a 358 to the 410, and we've developed a friendship for sure. And he invited me out to go see Keen Parts in Ohio, and there's a cool actually video that went up on Keen Parts. Actually, go to Keen Parts social media, see a video that we filmed on location with Tom Keen at Keen Parts out there, and Keen Parts is basically a Corvette parts. He sells Corvette parts for every Corvette that's ever been made. Um, I mean, it's a gigantic operation, and you know, he's a supporter of Kyle Keen, not related, wild, but Tom always comes into Carlisle for the Carlisle Corvette show, and actually met Sean Keen way back in the day. Didn't know the relation, and just life comes all first full circle, and they built a partnership for sure. And Kyle Keen's a good buddy of ours and supporter of the show. He was probably our first supporter, so appreciate Kyle and his family, and they're big fans of ours, and we are big fans of his for sure. So I'm having a little trouble with our guest getting on, Jimmy, so I need to step away for just a moment.
That's fine.
Uh, if you feel just a minute.
Yeah, I got you. So yeah, just again, Vertical for Life, Gutshall's Automotive, Keen Motorsports, and Kyle Keen, big supporters of ours. But we've also had some drivers that have run our logo on their car. One of the biggest ones is Brett Perigo, man. Shout out to him, wingless sportsman driver. This is unfortunately from the wrecked race car from Williamsgrove last year. But he's a good friend of ours. He's the guy you hear in the intro. He's getting interviewed by Brett Strasser at Port Royal. He podium second or third that night, and you could hear us all yelling it. You could hear us all yelling in the background. Good friend of ours, and he just one day he showed up to the track with these logos on there, and it's really that was a humbling moment for me. Just because I never thought a logo associated with me would ever be on a race car. So at least not without paying a ton of money. So really want to support him. Brett and Jordan Strickler too. They run our logos. Brett is a good friend of ours. He runs iRacing with us. Shout out to him. Good dude, good family. And you could see the T2T logo on their car. And Jake Moser last year ran our logo on his car. And then there's been some others too as well. But just really appreciate everybody that has given us any support at all, even if it's just a shout out or running a small sticker on their car, or like or going to the extent that Vertical for Life, Gutshall's Automotive, and Keen Motorsports have gone over the past few years and really supporting us to help us get better production and keep trying to up the quality for you guys. And we appreciate every single one of you. We wouldn't be able to do this. We're not here for the money. It's just at all. You know what I mean? It's not nothing like that. But we're here because you guys in the chat, and getting to just sit and one night a week get the bullshit and talk racing, and then we get to see each other at the track. Like I said, Matthew Bird, he's in here every week. Got to hang out with him for a little bit on Friday. That's always fun. So, but yeah, we're always open for more partners. We're trying to get more creative and try to do some more things. So if there is anybody out there that would like to support the show, just reach out and let us know. And but yeah, Vertical for Life for sure. Definitely go check out the their website, donate to them. They do a lot. They're connected with other charities that do a lot of great things for veterans. So yeah, let's go to went to Eastern Museum of Motor Racing yesterday, and Sammy Swindell was awesome. I'm jealous. I wanted to go to that. I should have went to that, but didn't get a chance to. So um, Matt says, very thankful to meet you you three last year and become really close to y'all and support y'all every Monday. Really appreciate it. Just it's been really awesome here, just kind of seeing this thing grow over the past few years, going from streaming to like 3 of our closest friends to now we get, you know, not crazy amount, but we get a couple hundred to thousands of views every week, and it's really really appreciated. We really appreciate everybody who watches us every week and listens to us even the day after. I know a lot of people listen to us the day after, so that's pretty cool. Love me T2T and watch every Monday. You guys rock. Thank you, James. Santos says, proud to say I've been around since day one and I've been able to meet a bunch of awesome people because of it and was able to create a friendship with Jay-Z. T2T is awesome. Thank you so much, Santos. Really appreciate it. Sean Keen, love you guys. Never miss a show. All the guys at Turn 2 Terribles podcast are great supporters of Central PA Racing. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Josh Burns says, not sure if you talked to him or not, but Trevor Stover might be interested in having a sticker on the car. We aren't a big 350 team, but we try to. That's awesome. We'll reach out. We could definitely try to do something there. That's pretty cool. That's the kind of thing that, I don't know, makes me feel awesome that we're actually not just talking to a brick wall. So JC's trying to get everything straightened out with Ricky Peterson, who will be joining us shortly. Granted that we can get this going. JZ, you have any luck here?
Yeah, he'll be here in just a moment. We got him going here. Some reason, every now and then I've had this happen where the links get weird that I send,
I
and
know.
it took him to another place, so we're good.
Yeah, I had the same problem with Brad before. That's why I had to send a different link, and I
The
don't
second
know.
one did the same thing. It was really strange,
Really?
but yeah, I just redid it and it worked. So I don't know.
Marie says it took Sammy Swindell 2 days to get there. Flights got canceled, and he had to get a 2:30 a.m. flight. Well, shout out to
Man,
Sammy for getting it out here. And it looked like I saw some pictures from it from EMMR when he was there, and it looked jam packed, absolutely packed. So, did you sponsor a car on the wall? Just our buddy Brett Perigo. He decided to run our logos one day, and that was kind of a weird thing started snowballing there. Hey, Mr. Wood says, I truly despise you all, and the only reason I'm here is because the Orioles are on the West Coast tonight. Well, at least you're here, so either way, we win in the end. All right, let's bring in our guest of the evening, Mr. Ricky Peterson Jr. Ricky, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you for having me on.
nice, man. We got it working. All right, we're good to go. So, all right, you know what? My Aussie friend Craig, he's unhinged. I'm scaring him because my camera's on. Come on, buddy. Come on, Craig. All right, man. Hey, Ricky, welcome in, man. I appreciate you taking a few minutes with us. This one's fun for me because I don't know you really at all. I know where you're from. I know you're in Central PA now, but I always tell people the best interviews and the most fun for me are the people that I don't know
Yeah.
because I genuinely want to know like what's your background, where you came from. So that's how I typically will start this with drivers that I really don't know that well, and I don't do research. I do that on purpose because I don't want to know. I want to know it from you,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah.
I'm just a little different that way. So we just kind of do it off the cuff here. We don't really prepare. But tell me a little bit about, or actually tell them and us a little bit about your racing background and your family's history in it, kind of where you came from and how you got to where you're at today.
Yeah. I mean, started racing go-karts when I was 4 or 5 years old and ran go-karts all, until I was 14, 15 and then started racing, 305s when I was 15, 16 and then ran them all the way up until, 4 years ago, racing, 410s from there on out. And yeah, just family history, got, my dad and my uncle Ryan raced go karts, and my cousin races sprint cars, and grandparents are big race fans, and yeah, just family ties. Just been in the family for a long time, and happy to keep that going.
And you're from a little bit west of us, so what's your hometown, and what were some of the racetracks where you live? Where did you race kind of growing up?
Yeah, I mean, I live in Rawson, Ohio, a really small town. It's right in between Findlay, Ohio, and Bluffton. Like I said, super small town. Findlay actually has Millstream Speedway open now, so that'd be kind of like a hometown track. But grew up Attica, Fremont, Wayne County, Atomic. That kind of racing around this region, and then luckily in the last few years, been able to branch out and start racing some more places and get traveling around a little bit.
So you kind of mentioned like 305, and then you did that for a few years, and you're just like, yeah, and we just 410 racing, and here we go. So, that
Yeah, it
that
wasn't that
happens.
wasn't that simple.
That happens, but in Ohio, I know they have a pretty healthy 360 class. Did you do much 360 stuff, or was it right to the 410?
Uh, with my family car, it was right to the 410 stuff. But I ran a year of 360s for Terry Bushy out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, and yeah, so I ran maybe a little bit over a year, or a year and a half or something with him, and ran quite a bit of 360 shows with him. But with my stuff, it was 305s for 6 or 7 years, and then when we got a 410, it wasn't, we didn't go out and buy a brand new 410 or really anything relevant. I mean, we got an older motor, and never really had, we don't have new engines or anything here with our stuff. So yeah, it wasn't as simple as just my parents writing a check for whatever to go buy us some engines. It was scraping and clawing and getting what we could afford, and buying older engines and making them work.
Yeah, the story of the weekend racer, right? But at
Absolutely.
such a high level, which is insane. It's weird, and that's what I love about our sport is that it's the pinnacle of the sprint car racing is the 410, but it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be that path for everybody. Like nobody, no, very few people just go, oh, best of the best first time I'm in it, right? It's very
Yeah.
rare, and you're sort of that story. Like a lot of people have kind of come through. And what was that difference for you? And you went from that 305, a little bit of 360, but 305 to that 410, and running the similar tracks. How much adapting did it take for you to kind of get comfortable?
Probably quite a bit. I mean, but I don't know. I had some good help. My first year racing 410s, my buddy Zach Myers was working on the car, and we were obviously both younger at the time, and but he was smart, and he knew what the car needed and stuff. So, I mean, we didn't go set the world on fire by any means, but it wasn't like we just struggled and struggled and struggled forever. I mean, we had a couple good runs, and uh, I actually won a 410 race before I even won a 305 race. So it was, an Ohio Valley race, but still, just, to win a 410 race anywhere, was, something I guess to be proud of. And then, actually later on that same year, I won my, first 305 race. So it was kind of cool. Little backwards, but, nothing less. It was
How
pretty
much
cool.
did you cross over then between the 305 and the 410? How long of a time period did you get to do both?
Not very long. So I was planning on doing both for a year because I couldn't afford rebuilds on a 410, and so I was planning on just running a 410 like 20 shows. But I think like the third or fourth race into the year, my 305 motor blew up, and it was going to be just too much to fix for what it cost, and so then we kind of shifted our focus to running just 410 races, and then. Longtime supporter of mine, Gary Benjamin, had a 305 engine that he let me use for a handful of races throughout the year. And one of them that I really wanted to do was the Rick Ferkel Classic race at Waynesfield later that year. And that was the one that we actually ended up winning. And that was actually with Gary Benjamin's 305 engine. So, technically with my own family stuff, I never really won a 305 race with all of our stuff, obviously we had Gary's engine in that night, and it was our car and all that kind of stuff. But, just crazy how things
For
work.
sure. And it just best laid plans. It never really kind of works out that way. I mean, it can, but rarely does.
Yeah.
So kind of get going with the 410s, and you're racing out there. How does this relationship come about with Fran in the 98 car, and kind of as we know you today here in Central PA, you're in the 98. Now I've seen you race your car, at Attica and Dirt Vision and Flow and things, but I'm not far from Ohio, but we have enough going on here that I don't get to know everything that happens out there.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm a good student of the game, but not that good. But how does that relationship form? I mean, I know that that
Yeah.
98 team has some Western PA ties and roots a little bit, but how does that kind of form up for you?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, it all, I guess, started. I just kind of heard this was, if you rewind to 2021 or 22, I heard that they were looking for a driver. And I had been, I'd call car owners and ask them to drive. And, I didn't have anything to bring, or I didn't, I didn't have, a big checkbook or anything, but like I just wanted to go race. So I would call people and ask them for rides. And, I called them and we actually talked a little bit, but nothing came about it. And just wasn't, going to work out at the time. And so, some time went on and we actually ended up parking beside him at Tri-City one night, and I met him in person and talked to him and kind of stayed in contact. And then I had heard before anything come out that they had, split ways with their driver. And so I just called Tom and I said, hey, I'd like to come out for a weekend and race if, you guys are looking for someone. And, originally he said that, they were going to take some time off and not do any racing for a little while. So I said, okay, well, just keep me in mind, if I just like to come out for a weekend and try it out there. And obviously Central Pennsylvania is, one of the most popular sprint car places in the country. So that's where everybody wants to be. Right. And so I just want to go out for one weekend is all I asked for. I said, let's just come out for one weekend, let me race and see how it goes. And so a couple weeks went by and he asked me if I wanted to come out and run Williams Grove. So I went out there and we actually rained out. I went out on like a Thursday and got my seat and everything in and rained out. And it was kind of like, well, sorry about your luck. But luckily, come back out the next week and ran Williams Grove and Lincoln and just, really get along with them well. And just one thing led to another. And luckily they wanted to do a full year. And I was in the right
Yeah,
spot at the
sometimes
right
it's
time.
just it's obviously who you know game, but it's also timing. Just it has to be right, and it was the timing was right.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
timing was right,
Timing is
and
key.
you mentioned that your first. We're going to get into this here in a little bit, I'm sure, but your first attempt, you're going to get one weekend, and Williams Grove rains out. Like you can't plan to be at Williams Grove and be your only one shot at it. You'd never know if they're going to race or not. Okay, no, I'm just.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that later, but so you're kind of getting going here, like when you come into town and you're running, plans are Friday, Saturday night. You come stay in town, or you like that's a lot of travel back and forth, I assume. So what's that schedule look like for you?
Yeah, so it's me and Luke Wolford, which he's been with me on my car for 3 years. And so it's me and him full time on the 98 car. So, it's still our responsibility to have the car ready, to have all the maintenance done, to have all the everything. I mean, truck, trailer, fuel jugs, get everything done, tire maintenance. So, like, for instance, the last few weekends has been, we're planning on racing Friday and Saturday. We've been getting rained out and whatever. So, we'll race Friday, race Saturday. Like for instance, last weekend we were on port on Saturday. Got back to the shop, worked, got everything washed, got everything maintenance, got fuel jugs filled, got some tire work done, truck and trailer clean, all that stuff. Then we actually drove home, got home at 6, 7 in the morning. Sunday, it's a 5.5 hour drive from their shop to my shop, and so get home Sunday, have a little bit of a regular family life. Sunday evening, Monday, Tuesday, head back out on Wednesday evenings. So then we get back out there Wednesday evening, get back to work Wednesday evening, pretty late, then all day Thursday, and then do it again Friday, Saturday. And so, yeah, it's a little bit hectic, but once we really get racing, the 2 or 3 day weekends here and there, we'll do a lot more staying at the shop or whatever it takes.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
I was going to pull up the schedule here because it looks like pretty much after this weekend, your plans to come back out to Central PA aren't really till maybe the end of the year. You're going to be more Western PA, Ohio based. So,
Yep.
So does that?
Yeah.
I'm curious. Will you talk about bringing maybe the car to your shop since you'll be a little bit closer then?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of why the schedule worked out the way it did. We were just looking, we wanted to race quite a bit. And, with with me and Luke being, obviously living in Ohio, their shop's in Breezewood, Pennsylvania, and it just made the most sense to try to split the schedule up and try to have some races out of my shop here, and then we can be home and we can have a little bit more time, and it just made the most sense. So yeah, there's a handful of weekends where we'll be here for the week or whatever it may take. But I'm sure we're going to spend our fair share of time in Breezewood as well. Because we'll have to go back and restock on tires or fuel or whatever that may
So
be.
bringing the car out, you'll get going. Can you pull that schedule back up?
Yes.
How did you kind of put together your Ohio Western PA schedule? Like, how was it sort of what we want to do? Or I see a lot of, what is that? Is that a
Fast
series?
series? Fast
Is that-
series?
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, it was Tom and Fran's decision. They can, it's their race car. They can, tell us where to race wherever we want. But, we were just looking for something that made the most sense for the both of us and our location and, central shop location and stuff. And the Fast Series made the most sense. I mean, when we broke it down and looked at travel and looked at, some time for me and Luke to be home and then also some time to be in Pennsylvania as well, it just made the most sense and it lined up good with what we kind of wanted. And, obviously we want to be at the top. So, we need to race in central Pennsylvania, but also we need to get our first year under us as well and try to have some good runs for just everybody involved and get some good mojo and try to get some people to notice, us in the 98 car and maybe try to get, some funding behind us or whatever it may take. So, just trying to have a good first year. And I think we put a schedule together that will allow us to do that.
What's it been like, coming to Central PA and racing so far?
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Big tracks, not that you haven't raced on a big track, but it's different, right? It's a little bit different. What's that experience been like so far?
Yeah. Great. I mean, I ran Port Royal one time in my car, I think 2022. Didn't do very good. But, like going to Port Royal the last 2 weeks, like it's awesome. I mean, I wish that we had more time to go there. And I actually just told Tom the other day, I said, you never hope for rainouts or anything, but, I hope there's a couple times this year where it allows us to get back there in the middle of the summer. And, not that we've been fast there, but, last week showed a little bit of promise and I feel like we could be good there. And I don't want to lose that, so I'd like to get back there whenever we can and try to race with these guys and show people that we can race with these guys in central Pennsylvania. But, it's going to take some time and going to take me getting, adapted to those racetracks and Luke and Tom to get a handle on the race car. And, it's going to take all the stars to align.
What did you think of that surface Friday night at Williams Grove for the few laps we got out there? Now, I know you and I chatted. You didn't have a great night, but it was easy to not have a great night the way that was. That was something else.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we just had so many things wrong. And, we came to Williams Grove with a new car, new engine, something that we hadn't ran all year, drew the 10th place starting spot for our heat race, and track was not great. I mean, let's face it, like it wasn't great. But, we didn't do our job. So it is what it is. I didn't lose any sleep over it. I'll say that. I was upset and I was frustrated we didn't have a good night, but I wasn't gonna let it ruin my weekend or ruin my day.
That's
or
March
whatever.
and April racing in PA a little bit. Sometimes you went home and it's upright and you didn't break anything major and it rolled in the trailer, and that's the way it goes sometimes early in the year.
Yeah, it still blows my mind that on such a big stage like Central Pennsylvania, it's pill draw for heat race lineup at any time of the year. Blows my mind. I mean, when we got to Port Royal that first week and we pill drew for heat race lineup, I was amazed that that's even an option. But it is what it is. It's the same
different
for everybody.
you would think, and listen, we grew up around here. We're used to either handicapping, pill draw, and we get the time trials are for events, right? They don't do that. And I think it's leaning that way, whether like the BAP style of the timed hot laps, kind of thing. That's not perfect, but it's the best of both worlds, but you're not leaving up the pill draw.
Yeah, it's the best.
Right? You're
exactly.
not leaving up the
best
pill
of both
draw,
worlds.
and the track's even enough. The way they kind of spread out, like they do the group, say, half and half, and that's your heat. So, I think it's trending toward that. The further and further we go, handicapping has always kind of been this like thorn in people's side. And then we get a really good show at Lincoln 2 weeks ago with handicapping. With the heats were fantastic, but everything has to be right for a
Yep.
handicap show to be entertaining for a fan. Whether it's the heat or the feature, one
Yeah.
of the two is usually pretty good. Rarely do you get both, right? So,
Yep.
and then take an early season racetrack that's narrow and heavy, and you drew the 10. Like, come on, like
What are you gonna do?
you can be as good as you want, but that thing
Yeah.
is evil and
Yeah.
dirty air on that heavy track. Like it, it just is. So,
Absolutely.
so the car sitting behind you. Tell us a little bit about what you got going on there. I mean, you got a busy deal going right now, and is that just a collector's item until you need it?
I don't know. That's what I kind of said the same thing, last week. If I could get it out 4 or 5 times this year, I'd be happy. If not the end of the world. Obviously, I want to race as much as possible, and there is a handful of dates that I have circled that are not on our schedule, and if it lines up and everything's done, 98's first priority. So if the work's done, stuff's going smooth, there's no tore up equipment, and we can still get our work done that week in a timely manner, absolutely, I'd go race every day. So yeah, it's ready to rip. I mean, I was messing around with it today. Me and Luke were just tinkering and doing some small stuff, and blocking it and measuring and changing little stuff around that we feel like we've learned. And so yeah, it's completely ready to go. And like I said, if there's a rain out, or if there's an off day and there's a race somewhere else, like I said, I'm willing to race every day if possible.
This will be my last one. I'll let Jimmy get a question here because he talks too. But what is your kind of the state of the union in Ohio sprint car racing right now? Because from an outsider looking at it, we have, this series and that series and this thing and that thing. And, I feel like that whole Ohio, Indiana kind of area, you can get to about anywhere, any weekend. But there's a lot of little like groups all spread out. I mean, am I thinking about that correctly, or is it simpler than I'm thinking?
No, you are. Like we have the Fast Series, we have the All-Star Series now, and then down in Southern Ohio, there's like the Ohio Valley Sprint Car Association, and then in the 360 deal, you got the Great Lakes, Super Sprints, and there is a lot of little organizations that are
is Maverick still
available to go race at.
I don't think so.
Is that
no?
Yeah,
I think they're with Power Eye.
okay?
Power Eye and them are kind of together.
Okay, but that's
I don't know. Around here, we have, it's pretty much the Fast, the AFCS with Attica Fremont Sprint Championship, and so I mean, I don't know. I wish that we could somehow get them working together, and let's have a full field of cars one night instead of 20 here, 18 here, 17 over here, 20 over here. Like let's get a full field. Let's give the fans a good show. Like there could be a great product of sprint car racing in Ohio if maybe there was a couple series working together.
You're crazy. That doesn't happen in sprint car racing. We're living that life, my friend. We might talk about that here in a little while. So bigger picture then, actually, last one. What about the overall state of sprint car racing? Rules, packages, parts, this thing, that thing. Kind of what's your 1,000-foot view on the state of sprint car racing in general?
Man, I don't know if I'd say it's in a good place. Parts are insanely expensive. Engines are out of control for any kind of normal person to have. I mean, if I had to fund my own team and go race 70 races in central Pennsylvania, there's not a chance. How is a normal guy supposed to go buy an engine for $72,000 and then he's got to rebuild it after maximum 20 races? It's just unrealistic. So I don't know. It's sad in a way for me to feel like the working guy can't go race. But I guess it's just reality. I mean, that's how the whole world is, right? Like everything's just crazy expensive. And, I don't know. I don't want to get into, I guess, the whole World of Outlaws versus high limit stuff, but it's hard not to. I mean, you look at the prices, the ticket prices, like how's a family supposed to go watch a race where the tickets are $40 a piece to get in and $30 to park and, this, that, and the other? It's what are we doing? We're still a sprint car, you're still entertainment for, race fans, and it has to be affordable. And I don't know. It's just crazy. There's a whole rabbit hole to go down, but like I said, there's a lot of choices to go race, but there's not, I don't know if we're keeping up with the times, I guess. I don't know if the money's making sense for the times that we're in.
Yeah. Just real quick, it looks like, and maybe the weather will change, but right now it looks like you have Williamsgrove and Port Royal on for this weekend.
Yeah.
Then you'll probably go more Ohio, Western PA way.
Yep.
But with the way the weather's looking, do you think you guys will change plans, or do you guys will think just kind of ride it out and see what will happen?
I'm hoping to go wherever the weather's looking the best. I called Tom today and I said, hey, just so you know, the All-Stars are at Attica Friday and Saturday. It's not far from my house. Weather looks good, so like I said, ultimately up to him. If he doesn't want to go race on Friday and Saturday, that's why the two machines are ready to rip,
There you go. And then this is something that usually our other co-host Chris would ask, but what is one race, any race, doesn't have to be sprint cars, doesn't have to be 410s, it could be anywhere in the world. What's one race that you would want to win?
Kings Royal. Yeah, Kings Royal. No questions asked. I mean, that would be, the biggest accomplishment ever, in my opinion, in sprint car racing. It might just be because I'm from Ohio, and, as a kid, you go to Eldora and it's just this stage, and people might say the Knoxville Nationals are bigger, the National Open's bigger, but they're, Indianapolis 500, Daytona, I don't care. It'd be the Kings Royal, no questions asked.
That's awesome. A couple questions here from the audience here. Ricky, is Bonsai helping you guys out this year?
When he can, he's, not committed or anything like that. And I just spoke with him on the phone today for a little while. So, I mean, I still talk to Bonds almost, a couple times a week, and he definitely gives me pointers and, gives me some advice and stuff like that. But yeah, he's not committed to help, but I'm sure when we're around home, he'll be with us quite a bit.
Matthew Bird also asked, and we kind of already established some of this, but beautiful looking race car in the background. Is that your family car? Yes. And then how did you get your number?
My number, there's a couple different ways. I mean, I guess I just feel like the number's kind of been in the family, or, been around. And my cousin's race car's first number was 2. And then, I had a, agreement or a handshake with one of my friends when we were really young racing go-karts that, if we ever got to sprint car racing, he'd be number 5 and I'd be number 2. And we were just dreaming at that time. But yeah, I mean, just my first go-kart number was 2, and then I had to go to 12 for, I don't even remember what the reason was. And, then when we started racing sprint cars again, it just was number 2, and that's where it's been ever since.
Randy Cup says, good luck in 2025. And he also asked, do you have merch for sale?
Not yet. Still working on that. Got the website going, and, got it to where we can get some merch on the website. But still working. I contacted, a couple people about designs and stuff like that, but I have not pulled the trigger on anything yet.
And then Austin Griffey says, don't know if this was already asked. What's your one main goal this season?
Oh, man, I guess just start with winning a race, So, won a couple last year in my car, but, I guess just get the 98 back in victory lane. I feel like we've put a ton of work in, and Tom and Fran have given us all the tools necessary. So I think our first goal is just to get that first one out of the way and build some consistency and really build something, try to build the program. I think that's something I've really been working hard at is trying to build something for 2 or 3 years to come, not just one season and out.
If I am a fan, so I'm asking you this as a fan, other than Eldora, what's the track in Ohio that I need to get to?
Wayne County Speedway.
Wayne
Wayne County is so cool. People rag on it all the time, and it's not the nicest facility, and but they work hard and making the racetrack good. So I think as far as the racing goes, as a true race fan, if you want to go and just see a good race that's usually kind of ragged on the edge and be pretty exciting, Wayne County is going to be the place to go. And Attica will usually put on a good race. Fremont can be good. It's got to get, kind of slick there to kind of get racing good. But, Wayne County is one of my favorite places to race at. I just think the racing is really good. And, it's just a great racetrack to be at.
So you came into Port Royal, you said, for the first time in 2022. What do you think of that facility? Pretty
It's
amazing,
awesome.
isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. I mean, the guys that get to race there all the time are lucky, and it's just a great place, and the facility, like you said, is amazing. And I wish everybody could experience it at least once or twice or whatever. And the layout's so cool, and you can see the mountains. And when you roll into Port Royal, you feel like you're going back 30 or 40 years.
Yep.
And everything slows down, and it's just a cool facility. And just what a great place. I hope that my family is going to get out there. Hopefully, if the weather straightens up this weekend, and kind of check it out and see what it's all about.
Yeah, it's super cool. I didn't go there. Like I'm pretty far south, so like Baps and Lincoln and Williams Grove are kind of like where I grew up going. Mostly was Susquehanna then, but Port Royal, I kind of only know it in its version today, and it's still,
Yeah.
We're very lucky in Central PA with some pretty good facilities and tracks that are putting, they invest a lot in these racetracks. But man, Port Royal just like you said, you pull up in there, you drive up there, it's beautiful scenery, but you don't expect to see what you see when you pull in. You're like, whoa, this is
Yeah.
this is a facility. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
it's not just a racetrack, it is a facility, and they've done a great
Absolutely.
job up there for sure. So the question that I have, this will be definitely a little different, but I ask the drivers, every driver we have on. Sometimes I have to ask them again because it's been a couple years, and the answer might change. But you're going to have to name me two drivers, somebody you love racing around. This could be recent or not. Someone you love racing with. It's a good time. It's fun for whatever your reasons are, and someone who's a pain in your ass. Now, when I say this, it's not someone you don't like. It's not someone who's wrecked you necessarily. It can be. We're here for
Yeah.
those ratings, but it's somebody I call it the Ryan Newman thing, right? Remember Ryan Newman in NASCAR was always the hardest guy to pass or race around? One of each.
Yeah. Oh man, the best one to race around. I don't know. I'd say, I spent a lot of time recently, the last couple of years, racing with like Brandon Spithaler on the fast deal. And, we've had some good races, and, he'd be a good one to race around. And we've had, a couple small run-ins, but nothing crazy. And
no way.
No. Hopefully he comes back in here in a second.
There's no way.
But, man, my cousin, I hate racing against my cousin.
We lost you for a second.
Did you lose me? You got me back?
I lost
Yeah, we lost you for a second. Yeah.
We lost you finishing up with Brandon Spithaler.
Okay. And I said the worst person to race around, he might hate me for saying this, but I hate racing against my cousin. Greg Wilson, so me and him are cousins, and just hate racing against family. And I feel like that it's just tense or whatever, so don't like racing with him. And don't mind watching him on the racetrack, but I don't want to be out there with him.
Yeah.
All you have to do is learn how to run the top, and you'll never be around him. So you'll be fine. You're good.
Yeah.
Man, I appreciate it so much. Go ahead, Jimmy.
A couple more questions here. Well, one statement here. This is Alex Robinson. He is the All-Star Circuit of Champion announcer this year. He said, "Let Ricky know I'll be messaging him for his sponsor." So just keep an eye out for him.
Okay.
and this kind of maybe piggybacks a little bit off of what you kind of just were talking about. Mandy asked, "What do you think of drivers / talent in Central PA versus Western PA and Ohio?"
Yeah, I mean, man, Central PA is tough. Yeah, they're really good. I mean, there's great talent, great drivers, great teams. I mean, the teams are what still blows me away, and just to see how well organized these teams are. And you could pick 5 or 6 of them to go out on the road racing, and they'd be just as fast as what they are in Central Pennsylvania every week. I mean, they really have their stuff together, and the guys are really good because they get to race so much. You can race 100 times in Central PA a year. And I'm just super thankful to to be out there and gaining some experience with those guys, and try to make a good name for myself, and hopefully I can be one of those guys here in a couple of years out there in Central PA, and have a good name. And yeah, I mean, I'm not knocking anybody in Ohio, not knocking anybody in Western Pennsylvania. It's just a different world out there.
For sure. And then one last one before we let you thank some sponsors and get out of here. Who's your sprint car hero? Asked Ron Rutherford.
I'd say probably Steve Kinzer or Brad Doty. And then your Jack Hodenshields and just all the guys, all the men, that just did it. And like Steve Kinzer, when I was really young, I was a big Steve Kinzer fan, and I guess because he won a lot. But when you look back at it, and when I hear the stories or watch videos or whatever, he just made it happen. Obviously and all that kind of stuff, but I just feel like he didn't listen to the bull crap. He didn't care what you thought of him, and there was no excuses. He was just going out there to do his job. And it's easy to make excuses, or it's easy to whine about a bad night or a bad pill draw or whatever it may be. And I just feel like it was a different time. Those guys just didn't whine, and they just made it happen.
There's a lot of whining now, that's for sure.
It's horrible.
So thank you so much for taking some time out to join
Absolutely.
us. It's really cool. Been seeing you out here and running pretty well. Before we let you go, want to give a shout out to some sponsors and everybody that helps you get to the track every week.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, first and foremost, Tom and Fran, Chiappelli, just for giving us the opportunity and allowing us to try to make something happen. And it's been a ton of work, but they gave us all the necessary tools and the financing and everything that we needed to get to the racetrack and try to have some good runs here. And so Golden Flavor Sesame Sticks, which is Tom and Fran, and then King Cold Quality Food and Meats. They've been with me on my 2 car for quite a while, along with Bluffton Diesel Service. They've been there since day one. We got Team Shank and Murphy's Mobile Pressure Washing, and just everybody that's ever helped me along the way. Like I said, if it's a car I drove for one night or 1 year or one weekend or whatever it may be, I'm very thankful for all the people along the way that helped me get to the point where I can get in a full-time ride and try to make something happen.
And my last bit of advice, if they let you go race All-Stars this weekend, because we ain't racing shit around here. So go get some racing in, my friend. It was nice to meet you, man. And hopefully we'll see you back again this season here in Central PA. Anything else, Jimmy? You good?
No, good. Thank you so much for joining us.
And good luck this season.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Man. Nice meeting you, brother. Take care.
Hey, take care.
Ricky Peterson Jr., everyone. He's been looking really good in that 98 car. He really has. Looking at his schedule here, hopefully he does get back out here to Central PA a little bit more if this weekend does get rained out. I see he has Clinton County on the schedule too, so that would be pretty cool to see him there and maybe in some other spots there. But great conversation with him. Let's get into the news and notes from the week. And we are going to go right into it. Hold on. There we go. First big news of the week. Well, really the only big news of the week was Jacob Allen announcing his abrupt retirement out of the Shark 1A. And it has been leaked that Cale Thomas, friend of the show, is going to be put into that ride. We heard about it a little bit before the news broke, and we're like, wow, this is some big news. Obviously, happy to hear that Jacob's going to be getting out of the car on his own, and focusing on the family deal. He's still going to be around the car. But, if just as long as he's happy at the end of the day is all that matters. And I think everybody kind of realizes that. And I think it's probably not an easy decision for him at all. For sure. For as long as he's been out on the road running full time to go and make this transition probably pretty difficult decision for him. But in terms of putting somebody into the car, I mean, I don't think you can get much better in terms of available drivers than Cale Thomas. I think he's going to be really dangerous in that car. Like he can. I don't know what they're. Nothing was officially announced yet, obviously, but it was on Dirt Tracker. Um, JC, what are your thoughts on this?
I have a few. So, the whole thing's weird, all of it, because Jacob kind of felt like he was kind of coming into his own, doing his own thing, and puts out this 100+ race schedule. We're not even barely into April, and nah, nah, I'm out. I don't
Right.
understand it. It's not for me to understand or any of us to understand, but at the same time, we've come to go the 1A and the 1S are professional race team. They are racers. They go race cars. Jacob obviously doesn't want to be a race car driver or be known to be a race car driver or make that his identity, and that's okay. I just find the whole thing odd. Like, put all that effort in, getting cars ready all winter, putting a schedule together, going and traveling already some this year to go. It's April. I'm out. I get it, I guess, kind of, but I don't. He can do what he wants. It's his deal. I'm thrilled that the car will live on, at least for now. Who knows? Like, no one knows what the future holds. Clearly, we didn't know this was coming, so we don't know what goes on after this. But I'm thrilled that he's going to stay committed to having the race car on the racetrack. From what we've heard, they're just going to continue right along with the schedule like nothing ever changed or stopped. So that's a very aggressive schedule, very aggressive all over the country. And if the rumor of Cale getting in this car is true, which at some point we will all get the 100,000% confirmation of it, man, am I thrilled for my boy Cale.
Yeah.
This is a good buddy of mine. Got to know him during COVID. We've talked about that. I love the opportunity, and that's what he was looking for on the off season was an opportunity to race a lot and an opportunity to race on a professional level. So um, I've said this all along. Watching Cale's career, he's not a Central PA guy, but when he came and raced Central PA and I got to know him, I followed his journey pretty closely when he got the race and nobody's perfect, but I can tell you that Cale Thomas with seat time is as good as anybody out there. He just needs that seat time consistent. Last year in that 32 car, 23, which one is it? I always forget which way it was. Whichever one it was. He won 8 races last year, 8 features around the country and was competitive in a lot of big races. Cale, he gets it together. They get going. They have a team. He can be a dangerous race car driver, and I think he's going to compete for wins quickly in this race car. Uh, Jacob's going to be involved. Jacob's going to be there to support, Logan and the family and everybody else and all this. I assume there's going to be a lot of races where the 1A will be there with the 1S because Jacob said in that statement about supporting Logan and being at the racetrack with them. Well, when you have 120 plus races on your schedule, it's hard to be in 2 places at once if you're still going to be the car chief on this car. So we'll see. I think there's a lot that we're going to find out. I have a hard time wondering, or like I don't have their schedule in front of me, but I assume they're trying to race somewhere this weekend. It's already Monday. They didn't
Right.
race last weekend, and they wanted to continue the schedule right on, and we don't have a press release of who's in the car.
Right.
The other team that this driver left already has a press release, and they're ready to go racing.
Yes.
So like Justin Fiedler kind of said on Dirt Tracker, it was kind of a secret, but it's no longer a secret when
When they already announced
the
that
car the other guy left already has their thing and they're
Trey,
moving forward. So
and what we're referring to is Trey Jacobs in the Red Stick 49. That's what Cale was going to be running full time on the All Star schedule. They announced that Trey Jacobs is now going to be in there. So kind of putting all the pieces together.
they're
Yeah,
ready to go racing this weekend
they're
at
ready to
Attica,
go.
right?
Yeah.
So good for the 49 and Trey Jacobs, right? But we'll see how that goes. I mean, Trey's a good driver. I think he'll do well out there, but it's a new team, new deal for him. So hopefully that's good. But man, I'm looking forward to this getting going and seeing how this goes. I'm excited for it. I don't have expectations, but I'm excited. Um, I know Cale's pumped up. He's ready to get going, I'm sure. So hopefully we'll all find out a little more in a few days.
Yeah, hopefully they can make this official. I mean, I guess I don't really have expectations, but I think Kale becomes, if they can hit on that, which I think they can, because Kale's a really good driver. Like they're gonna be a contender, and like if they're running here in Central PA, they're a top 5 to 10 car right off the bat. And then as they get together more, I don't see any reason why they couldn't. I could see it having like a Chase Dietz effect with Stamen. You know what I mean? Just kind of just taking it to another level, to be honest. So we shall see. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but um, I'm just happy if Jacob's happy. I think that's the main thing at the end of the day. And a couple comments here. Marie says Jacob was raised without Scruffy close by as he grew up. He wants to be close to his dad. Wants to be a dad to his daughter, which yeah, you could absolutely see that. And Matthew Berg kind of piggybacks off that. I wonder if the Austin wreck at Hunterstown Speedway with a local 410 driver changed his mind about racing because he has a family now. But I mean, listen, as a racer too, these things kind of happen. You know what I mean? You know what you're getting yourself into. Puzzles me. Canto says puzzles me that they brought in Lethal Lee in just to pull the plug on the deal. Nevertheless, glad to see Jacob do what he feels is best. I think that's a great point. I think that's what matters at the end of the day is he's doing what he feels is best for him, his family, and that team.
Put Steph's comment here just popped up. Seen Kel on Flow Lop. I can't remember if I saw him in person.
He was on here.
If you watched the National Open this past October, you saw Cale Thomas. He was in the
Yes.
Rutherford 19. So
Yes, he was.
you did get to see Cale if you watched the National Open.
Yes. And you also saw him on here on this podcast. He was on here earlier last
Not
year.
quite in person though. I mean,
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
We're not nearly on Flow at the
Yeah. So yeah. Any final thoughts on this move? I guess we won't really know until we really get an official press release, but looking what it looks like here, I think it's exciting all around.
Driver that's named to be named later. So yeah.
So let's get into rainouts. Unfortunately, High Limit canceled all 3 of their races last week. Same with the World of Outlaws, and they all canceled them early because the weather forecast looked really bad. So they canceled pretty early in the week. Williams-Grove, I'm putting them as a rain out here because they didn't officially get anything in, except for
Well, they did.
They did, but I mean, there's nothing to talk about because Matt Campbell's
5 laps short of halfway.
We're 5 laps in. Matt Campbell's leading. That's all you need to know, really.
8 laps short of halfway.
Yeah. So, but they ended up rating out. Port Royal rains out on Saturday. Lincoln does get that in. Let's stick on Friday. Williams-Grove. It looked iffy. And then looking at the hourly, it looked like it was going to hold off until at least about 10. And that's about what it did. I mean, we got some rain during the final heat race. It's the final heat race of the night. As they were doing the first B main. I can't remember.
They were pushing the B main on the racetrack.
That's
and pushing
right.
Right back in.
And it was starting to rain. And listen, it rained it was heavy enough that they had to run the track back in. And it was already a heavy 1-lane track, pretty much. Not 1 lane. I mean, it was 2 grooves, but it was pushed up about halfway. For me, I know I was waiting to cross the bridge until they finally gave us the okay. I went across the bridge, stopped at the bathroom quick, and then went back to my camper. By the time I got back and my camper was just outside Bear Hill. So by the time I got there, they were already calling cars to come back. So I basically just grabbed a beer and went right back in. And it wasn't a very long rain delay is my point. It wasn't very long. It was like maybe 15, maybe 20 minutes. And then they brought the B mains back out. Let them buzz the track off real quick. They got the B mains in. And as they got into the feature a couple laps in, that's when the rain started to come. And now they have pushed the rest of those 2 features now. 410s will be this Friday. We'll talk about that here in a second as we get to the schedule. And 358s, I think, are 2 weeks from now. When the 358s are back there at Lincoln or at Williams-Grove. Jesus. Track was heavy, but I appreciate that they they gave it a shot, to be honest, because everything was canceled that day, and I was up in the air about going until I saw like late morning, early afternoon, like Dirt Vision was pushing it hard. I'm like, all right, weather looks good. Dirt Vision is pushing it hard, so I feel like they're really going to give this a try, and they did. I got to give them credit. They got as much as they could in. Um, it did stop raining a little bit after they canceled the features, but it was iffy all night long, and it was already so wet. I don't blame them for pulling the plug. Your thoughts?
The place was a muddy fucking mess. Number one,
Yes.
not just the racetrack, that everywhere. It was bad, and that added rain just makes it worse in all the places that aren't the racetrack. Take the racetrack out of it. Could they run it in? If it was July, they probably would have. Stop the rain, they get going. But the place was a mess, muddy to begin with. It already rained once. People standing around. Yes, you started the feature, you got it going, but it was going to be at least another hour, at least. With this shower was heavier than the first.
Mm-hmm.
It was going to be at least another hour.
And it
There
was
was more rain,
already
and there was
after
more
10
rain
o'clock at
potentially
that
coming
point.
after that.
Yeah.
It just wasn't going to work. Now, there was a lot of people, including myself, live that thought, man, they don't seem to be moving quickly. I don't have Dirt Vision, so I wasn't able to go back and really kind of look at the times of live. Dirt Vision, you can even go to commercials sometimes, but how much time elapsed and did they really drag their feet? And, a lot of people put the tinfoil hats on awfully damn quick here,
Uh-huh.
knowing what's going on in Central PA. And right there's one of them,
Mm-hmm.
this guy. Okay. Love him or hate him, he's got opinions. Love or hate me, I got opinions. I'm not him. I'm nobody. But we all have our opinions. And if you're a fan of this guy, you probably agree with most of them. If you're not a fan, you probably didn't. If you're a fan of Williams Grove, you did or didn't. If you're a fan of this, you did. It doesn't matter. We all have opinions. And I got a microphone, so guess what? You're getting mine. Here's where I'm at with this. I'm going to start with the Williams Grove thing because I'm going to talk about Lincoln here in a minute.
Yeah.
When we get to Lincoln.
Yeah, well, let me read what he said for Williams Grove first. He says, Williams Grove, you screwed around. This is Danny Dietrich, by the way. He had a few opinions. He has some about Lincoln, but we'll do Williams Grove first here. Williams Grove, you screwed around so bad. Everyone in the pit knows that what you had up your sleeve. You wanted to cancel after the B mains were in. You wanted to keep drivers there this Friday and not have them go to Selinsgrove, which is a whole nother topic. Well, hopefully you get what you deserve this weekend, and that's more bad weather. Also, game on the Bob Weichert Memorial Weekend. On another note, it was nice to have a smooth track surface, no holes, no ruts, no whoop section. Keep that up and give us a cushion in 3 and 4. 3/4 of the way up the track, and you might have the best surface you had in years.
Okay. First of all, if you're kind of making threats of never going there, why do you give a shit what the track is like? Number one. If you're never going back, Weichert, Selinsgrove, whatever. I don't give a shit. Yeah, okay, it was great, it was nice, but why is that even relevant? Number one, because you don't just want to support the place or go back. That's number one. Number two, if they really had a tinfoil hat, they don't. Number one, they just don't. But let me put this in context. Do you think that racetrack gives a shit about the other racetrack?
No,
Because
I don't
I
think
can
either one
promise you
gives a
it's not
shit.
reciprocal. The whole thing isn't been. And why would Williams Grove do anything to worry about anyone but themselves? And they should. Do what you got to do. If you want to, there's no way they planned to get 5 laps into this A main and then cancel. I can promise you that, number one. So that's bullshit. Could they have pushed this along a little further and got another 8 laps in and called it halfway and gave the win to Matt Campbell?
Maybe.
Sure. Would you all be still bitching here because they only got halfway and Matt Campbell won the race?
They could also They could have also went one more lap and have a caution or a red that let the rain get worse, and it would have been in the same spot.
Correct. Right. So like we'll get 5 laps in here, and then we're not going to give anyone their money back. We're not going to claim a winner, and then we'll drag them all back here next Friday so they pull them from this other racetrack. I promise you, they gave as much thought to that as the other racetrack next Friday is given to them all winter. Okay.
Yeah.
So put that in context. Number one, if you want to go race over there, go race there. If you want to go race over here, go race here. to make a big deal and put a tinfoil hat on about the rain and how they controlled the rain and the weather and the narrative and bring them all back is kind of shitty. That's my thought on this. And Williams Grove, thank you for trying to race.
Yeah, I agree.
You,
They
you're,
had to.
but yet again, they get shit on for damned if you do and damned if you don't here because they're also in the wrong again. Now they're in the wrong for this. What can
Yeah.
they ever do right? Well, what they did right was they got us there and we got to see some racing at Williams Grove. It didn't work out. I'm glad we got to see it because it's now April 7th and they got not even a full race in
They
yet.
didn't even get a full night in. Yeah.
They haven't even gotten a full night in yet. So good for them for attempting it. I thought pretty much all week there was no shot. And as we got through that day, I'm like, hey, we're going to see some race cars here tonight.
Yeah. I had
Pretty
no
cool.
no
Now,
plans of going there, and looking at the forecast, you know, late morning, I'm like, let's load up the camper and go. Why not? I mean, if it does rain out, whatever, you know. But
now,
they were able to get it in, so good for them.
what anyone wants to do next Friday, I don't care. Nor should anyone else care. You
That
pick
has
your
nothing to do
allegiance,
with any of it.
but if you want to pick your allegiance one side or the other, but don't base your opinion on which one you like best. That's the problem I'm seeing on social media is if you're associated or you like this one, you're saying this. If you're associated or liking this track, you're kind of putting this narrative out there, what your opinion is. Don't form your opinion on other things other than the facts. The
The
facts
fact,
are they tried to race and had a one rain delay, kept
yeah,
going. What
yeah.
if they didn't have the rain delay, right?
They,
Like
I just think people think that they were dicking around, and they weren't dicking around. They moved pretty quick as they could with the rain. To think that they're thinking they're like, man, you know what would be really cool? If we just axe this, don't give anybody a rain check, make them come back next week so they don't go to Selinsgrove. Like, you really think they're sitting there thinking that as they're trying to watch the radar and figure out how they're going to get this race in? I don't think so. They have a curfew as well. It's just crazy. Now, do they care that they scheduled it on top of next? No, but they would just whether
doesn't matter.
Selinsgrove was racing this Friday or not, they were going to run that makeup this Friday.
Correct.
It doesn't make any sense you're going to have 410s there next week. You're going
Right.
to run the makeup there. It just fell that way.
And do you
So,
really think they wanted to take next week and then take a division off the card next week to
right.
get this in next? Like, they don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's just this crazy conspiracy theory that it's like, I get it. They're pissed off at Selinsgrove because Selinsgrove did what they did. Whatever. I don't think that has anything to do with this at all. It's just ridiculous to kind of continue to perpetuate this whole narrative of that. Selinsgrove is trying something. Williamsgrove could be pissed all they want. If they're nervous, maybe they should be. I don't know. I don't think they should be. I think both can be fine. It's just if you're that nervous about it because you have some competition on a Friday night, then maybe you do need to step your game up. And I think they have. But it's to think that they were thinking that in the moment is just so absolutely absurd to me.
Yeah.
You guys gotta take some pills to calm yourselves down. That's where I'm at.
That's my Williams Grove thoughts and the Selinsgrove thing. And I hate to even say the word Selinsgrove because really they had nothing to do with it. They
Right.
they have done nothing wrong as far as the way this went. So I hate to even like bring up their name in a bad light. And I hope I'm not. That's not my thing. It's more about us as humans creating narratives that aren't there. So like let's not do that.
Right. And again, this upcoming week, if they race, the people who are going to go to Selinsgrove are going to go to Selinsgrove. They don't care about the makeup feature necessarily. I mean, maybe if there are some that were on the fence, okay, maybe that changes their mind. But I think you have teams that were going to go to Selinsgrove, and they're going to probably still go there regardless of what happens. So it is what it is. The track surface, I mean, it's the first night. Let's see what happens as they get more nights in. But yeah, it looked nice and smooth, but it was also a lane and a half wide. So, I mean, which isn't their fault. It was just the way the weather was. It was never going to, and it got a little bit wider than I thought it was going to be honest. There was some good racing in the heats. You saw some guys come from 4 or 5 spots back in the heats, but and this is a good point that Marie says. Their fishing could have been why it felt like it was dragging too many commercials. Yeah, if you were at the track, it did not feel like it was dragging. And if you thought it was dragging, then you're just a little cuckoo because they were. I didn't even get a chance to get back to my vehicle before they said, "All right, we're bringing you guys back out" on the first rain delay. Like they were not screwing around. That's my opinion.
Yep. Agreed, sir.
So I guess we can get into his conversation about Lincoln before we get into any other thoughts from Williams Grove.
No, sir.
I don't have any. Before we get into the rundown for the 410s at Lincoln, let's read what he had to say about Lincoln here because he also had that in his tweet or in his post. I applaud Lincoln Speedway for racing Saturday as a driver, but fans didn't show up, and that sucks. I can assure you this is why tracks cancel so early. Look for early cancellation to happen this weekend, next weekend, and any other weekend in the near future when weather looks iffy, and I don't blame them. Flip side, as a driver, I can't figure out why it was so slimy for the first couple heats. Why are we watering the track so hard on an overcast 55-degree day? That made me not want to be there. Handicap 9th in the first heat. That might make us quit going there until time trials. I also applaud Lincoln Speedway for getting it in. I did not think it was going to happen. I thought they just made the decision to move the program up a little late. I felt like they should have made that maybe on Saturday, but it probably was also hand in hand with them not knowing what Port Royal was going to do. But hey, they got it in. It was muddy as hell, it looked like. Why are they watering it so hard on an overcast 55-degree day? I could also I can kind of agree with that assessment, but we've talked about cancellations this year and weather. I guarantee you Lincoln took a loss. They probably took a big loss on Saturday. It did not look like there was anybody there, and they had full fields, and they had to have taken a loss. And this is exactly why they'll cancel. But if they would have not run and it was not raining, they would have also got flamed if they canceled. So, again, these tracks they can never win. They can never win. Jay-Z, you were actually there on Saturday. What did you see as we get into that?
Yeah, this one probably fires me up. Well, let me go back to that. Let's go back because this one fires me up as much as the Williams Grove bullshit. First of all, it was awesome Lincoln put this in, that they got it in and they got the show in. Agreed. It pisses me off that fans weren't there because everyone right away was going, Port could have raced. Well, Port could have raced. Well, what do you mean Port could have raced? Whether they could or couldn't have, based on Lincoln's attendance, it doesn't fucking matter what your opinion is because you didn't go anyway. Where were all the fans? Everybody wants to see racing. Lincoln Speedway, you knew it was going to be heavy. It wasn't going to be dusty. People bitch about the dust. Rubber down. It wasn't going to be any of that. You're going to have 410s and 358s, two full-size wing sprint car divisions, the headliners of the weekend. You got rained out last night. Why aren't you at Lincoln? Where was everybody at? And the 2-hour earlier start time, really? Oh, I couldn't make it. I had things to do. That means you were never going to make it anyway. So
I mean, I don't know about that.
I saw comments. Oh, I couldn't make it because the earlier start time. Give me a fucking break. You weren't going to make it anyway then. It was 2 hours. Number one. Next. I agree with him on this. This is where I agree is the early cancellations. And I've been saying this for a year now. This is going to become more and more common. Whether you are the weather forecaster of the year or not, we are all couch meteorologists. If Lincoln doesn't think the weather's good and people aren't going to show, they're canceling. Period. End of sentence. That's Lincoln. That's Port Royal. That's Williams Grove. That's Selinsgrove. That's any of them.
Yep.
If they don't feel like they can, this is a business, everybody, and y'all aren't supporting the business. So why would they try harder to get this race in when what we just saw and what I saw on Saturday? I could have picked any seat, stood anywhere I wanted at Lincoln Speedway, and nobody would have batted an eye at me. Anywhere in the facility. And it's a shame. Because what else are you looking for? What else could you want? 55 degrees. It wasn't windy. I was never cold. It was great. And it was a race on a day that we probably shouldn't have had a race. Where was everybody at?
I think everybody saw what happened at Williams Grove the night before.
But
when I left Williams Grove mid-morning and it was dumping, and it dumped my entire way home. Like, I thought about it. I'm like, I'm not going. The fuck that. Like, it's going to probably just rain. And that's probably where some of this comes from. And maybe they rethink it later, and they'll probably get flamed for canceling.
Okay. Flip side, as a driver, I can't figure out why the track was so slimy. Well, did you talk to Fred? Because I did. Jimmy, did you talk to Fred? Because maybe Jimmy, you kind of said it too. Hey, you weren't there, but yeah, I agree. Why'd you put so much water on? It's 55. How did anybody know they put a lot of water on it? Because Fred put the same amount of water on he did last week, and it was heavy. And he's like, that's less water than I put on it ever. Three loads of water, he said. And then I saw a comment later that he wasn't told the time got moved up soon enough, so the water wasn't put on early enough for the 2-hour start time move up.
Well, there you go.
So it was less water than he would normally put on any other time, and the water unfortunately got put on too late for the earlier start time. So you want to know why it was slimy? Well, there's your answer, a real educated answer from the person who did it. Okay, not just assuming. And then handicap ninth the first in the heat. Well, you earned that. And I saw Anthony Macri pass a bunch of cars in his heat. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an idiot. I saw him pass cars all night, in fact, and won the race. So doesn't want to go to Williams Grove because of this. Doesn't want to go to Lincoln because of that. Like what is it when everything goes perfectly and your night goes right? Like I said last week, if Danny finished second last week, would he have given at BAPS? Would he have given Brock and Freddie his props? Their props for how good they were racing. If he ran second and not won, love the guy, love his opinions. He has them. I love most of them. But come on, man. It just seems like complaining at this point. Well, you complain about the conspiracy here. You complain about the track there. Okay. Then you could have went the other place and it would have been shitty too and complained there. I mean, come on. The fans already do this enough.
Yeah.
We don't need more of it.
This is a reason why the fans do it so much is because they see this.
But he also is allowed to have an opinion. So that's like, I get it, right? I'm having an opinion right now. I'm bitching about him bitching. So I'm probably not even helping. But I don't think these aren't fully educated. These are just opinions. These aren't even like statements. You know, I didn't ask Fred about the track, but he just said, "Man, I didn't put that much water on the damn thing. It's hard as a rock underneath." He said, "We just get that off there." And actually, in the 358 feature, it was starting to blow some dust. It just took a while because, again, probably if Fred knew the time got moved up sooner, puts the water on a couple hours earlier, we probably end up with it was still a pretty good damn race, to be honest. But this is a tough one. My biggest thing of this isn't about Danny. It's about the fans and why they weren't at Lincoln. First day of trout season, do you fish in the dark? Because we were a little bit earlier, but we weren't that early. Most people I know go trout fishing up at the ass crack of dawn to start. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's me. But the diehards were there. Saw a lot of people that do go. Saw a hell of a race, honestly. And now let's go to the results because, man, Anthony Macri looked like a man on a mission all night. Like, ninth to first, passed cars in the feature too, it looks like. But in the heat race, man, he went around the outside in it wasn't even a cushion. It was just mud and just drove around like 2 lanes of cars. It was unbelievable. And it worked. I don't know how it worked, but this was a great race. Freddie, Troy, Matt Campbell from the back again. Look, 10th to 4th, 15th to 5th, 17th to 6th in a handicap show on a racetrack that was slimy. Now, as you can see, Troy didn't make the redraw. Matt didn't make the redraw. Freddie did. Brandon did. Tyler Ross must have, right? But these guys still didn't make the draw in their heat. Because, yeah, it was narrow. But look at this. They passed cars. This was a good race. The people moving all the way through, all the way up, all the way up, all the way up through the feature. I saw Freddie and Troy and Freddie and Brandon throwing sliders at each other. Matt Campbell was driving like a man possessed through the field again. This was pretty entertaining, to be honest with you. JJ Loss, what a great run. He started there, stayed there. Man, Dallas shot. Tough one. Got out front and was gone. Just absolutely gone. Anthony did run him down. Anthony got by him. His move that got him crashed ultimately was probably his last chance to have a shot at this win. Was going to probably finish a strong second. Hate to see a race car torn up. Glad he was okay. That thing was vicious. That wreck. But this was another good race. And if you were there and watched this race, they were fast and it was fun. It was fun to watch. So that's my thoughts. I'm done complaining about it. I hope we have some less. You remember last year, the way the year started? Do you remember?
It was rain out after rain out.
Jump starts. Remember that deal?
Oh, yeah.
For weeks. Now this year, what are we talking about? bad racetracks, cancellations, and rain. This Lincoln's put on some good shows.
Yeah, I
Remember
mean,
last week?
there's obviously passing here. I mean, the fast guys get to the front. That's how it goes. I don't know anything else because I haven't seen anything because obviously you can't watch it if you're not there. So I have no thoughts from it.
It's and listen, it wasn't even on Flow. So streaming doesn't kill attendance because attendance killed attendance. It wasn't on Flow and there was still nobody there. So take that for what it's worth as well.
Yep.
Like I don't know. I was pretty disappointed with what I saw from a turnout. I'm sure Lincoln was too. They have the most at stake, not us. But I was thrilled to be there, thrilled to be able to cover this event. It was a good one. It was a good one. And listen, let's talk about the other side of this. Anthony Macri getting back on track. Hopefully for that team and that crew, they're a little bit of a struggle bus. They were going to try to test last week. That got canceled. Didn't get to do that done. But man, this car looked like the Anthony Macri of old. I don't know what the other night would have held. You know, he was second, right? I think Williams Grove when it rained. Was he second already?
Yeah, he was.
Behind Matt, and Matt was fat. Look, Matt Campbell out in clean air. Williams Grove is probably going to be pretty good. Okay, don't know what the future would have held there. I guess we could find out another time. But man, Anthony Macri looked like the Anthony Macri that we've known for the last couple of years. So if that puts him back on track, man, everybody should be on the lookout for sure.
Yeah, JJ Loss, I think, staying in second was probably the biggest story from this one for me. Just that's a really, really good run for a guy who's doesn't have a ton of 410 starts. You know, just his second year in it. So just good run for him. And again, the fast guys get to the front. Troy, Matt, Freddie, Kyle Moody, Tyler Ross. Brendan Raymer's been really, really good there this year. Obviously, Matt Campbell was the hard charger. 17th to 6. Kyle Moody, Lucas Wolf, and Dallas Shaw all won heat races. Yeah, I'm surprised they raced at all. But it ended up being a decent finish. I don't really blame fans for not going just because of how the night before went and just how the weather was in the morning. I mean, it was fucking pouring rain. So for anybody that was in the area.
It was
So
also muddy at Lincoln. I wore the wrong shoes. I left my boots in the car. Holy shit, was it muddy at Lincoln? Like I at one point I took my shoe off to get like dump dirt out of it, and I accidentally put my toe down, and I was like in the infield, and my sock was soaked. Like the ground was soaked.
they did victory lane on the front stretch.
Yep, did victory lane.
And you got to think about it, fans which there wasn't a ton of fans at Williams Group, but it was a decent crowd. A lot of them got burned. A lot of them don't get a rain check, didn't get to see a whole feature. I mean, they got to see a whole night of racing. Don't get me wrong. They got burned because of the rain. They knew it was going to rain. They went anyway. Lost kind of in a sense, lost their money. They probably were going to go do it at Lincoln 2 days in a row. So I get it, but at the same time, don't bitch when they cancel. When it's like
Right, you can't have it both ways.
you can't have it both ways.
You feel like they screwed around and could have done better because you own the racetrack. I mean, you don't. And then the next day go, well, no wonder. Like, oh, they canceled. They could have gotten it in. You can't have it both ways.
I do applaud them because I feel like they've been really expediting these races through so far this year. They have a little bit of an extra pep in their step here when it comes to that, and I think as long as they can do that all year, I think fans are going to be really happy.
Yes,
A race like this is never going to get remembered, to be honest, later on in the year when you're looking back at the season, but they will remember getting these things in and getting them done timely.
Yeah, 100%. We mentioned that last week from the week before. And listen, I know every track has this goal, by the way, to keep these shows moving. Their goal is not to keep you there. In fact, friends of ours in a chat today, Jimmy said, "Hey, listen, it's July in the summertime. I don't care how long you keep me there." I disagree. I think if you have things to get done and that's fine if you have events and you have things during that race that are truly need to be done, some ceremonies, if you want to do fireworks, that's fine. But if there's nothing planned in there and not planned to waste time, but planned for events or fan engagement,
right?
Then keep the shit moving. And I think most of the tracks have acknowledged to my not like I've heard at least two acknowledge and say, no, we are trying to make it a goal to keep things moving, whether or not. No, not when I say whether or not, whether rain or not, or not. If it's July and it's 93 degrees outside, I don't necessarily, I want it to get dark and cool off, but that doesn't mean I want you to keep me there for 3 more hours. Like, keep it moving. Like, yeah, I appreciate being there. I love being there, but if you don't have things to do for fan engagement, keep it moving.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you don't want just dead air. You don't want just, oh, let's do 30 minutes for track prep for water truck to just go pace around. You know what I mean? Like, uh, make a constructive time. I think
Yeah.
that's what guys are, what fans are looking for. Let's get to some fan comments. We have quite a bit.
I think Marie called me a crybaby.
uh,
Potentially.
where?
21, 29 on the timestamp. Either I'm the crybaby or someone else is, but I'll take it if it's me. I'm okay being that tonight. I'm fine with that. Put it up there. There it is. Did you miss that?
I did miss it. I'm going back even further here. Steph says, my anxiety was so high watching them just race at Lincoln on Saturday. I'm just a fan, and it was just so fast that if something happens, it's going to be bad. Well, that Dallas shot one was pretty close. Oh, shit.
It was bad.
Oh, shit.
You all right?
I got my earbud stuck in my ear.
You
It's
need
like
some
the,
tweezers?
yeah, I'm going to have to get some tweezers. It's
Do you
okay.
wanna
We
you wanna
power
go do
on.
that?
We power
Okay.
on. We're fine.
This guy's got something stuck in his ear hole.
It's happened to me once. It happened to me when I was a kid. I had something like this stuck in my ear, and I had to go to the
Get
hospital
Kim
to
to
get it
come
out.
take care of it
I'll
here.
be fine. I'll be all right. I
Live on
just won't
air,
mention
actually.
it
I wanna
anymore.
see her, like, digging in there.
It's like the just the cover of the earbud
Oh,
just
shit.
stayed in my ear. All right. Anyway, Mandy says if Lincoln had started at their scheduled time instead of moving it up, they wouldn't have gotten it in before the rain, no matter how hard they tried. There you go.
I'm so
Marie was
glad they
saying,
moved it up. Man, I'm
yeah.
so glad they moved it up to be able to see a race. That was awesome.
It's baseball and softball season. Brandon Zirk says it's also trout season, so people had other plans, I guess.
No,
And
it's
maybe we're
race
never going to
season.
go anyway. So,
It's race season, damn it. We've been waiting all winter, complaining about rainouts, and we got racing. No, I'm just kidding. Y'all do what you want to do.
Samuel Greenwald says, "I thought everybody left so quickly. I didn't realize how little people were there." Yeah, I mean, unfortunate. Flyers fan says, unfortunately, when the weather is iffy, the fan turnout is poor. Cancellations will be the norm until this changes. Absolutely, that's
It has changed.
we've been yeah.
Yeah, it has changed. I remember growing up, man, it didn't matter. You were
Yep.
going until you weren't. You were
Right.
going until you weren't. And sometimes I've said this on the show before. I still remember pretty vividly. I have a family who lives out in Indiana. They grew up here but moved out there. They were in town, and I was like, "Let's go to a race." And he's like, "Hell yeah, I've been to a race in forever." And we were in Lincoln till like 3 a.m. Thunderstorm. I mean, it absolutely. It didn't drizzle. It didn't rain a little. It downpoured like downpour. We're going. We're getting this thing in. They waited, ran it in. We watched the race. It was like 2, 3 a.m. They were racing. Unbelievable. It just wouldn't happen anymore, right? So fans have changed, people have changed. Unfortunately, the tracks are changing with what we as fans are forcing that change. Nobody else.
Yep. Craig Beeson says, cost of everything. Some can't go like they used to again. Then you probably weren't going to this race regardless. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of how that goes. Matt Campbell went 17th to 6th in the A. Hard charger, man. Why does it seem like only Grove and Lincoln get crucified for anything they do or don't do? And I would argue against that. They're usually the loudest, but Port gets just as much. There are a lot of tracks around here, Port included, get as much flack when they cancel as well. Andy says, even at even at 3:30, 4 o'clock on Saturday, my forecast was showing thunderstorms in the Hanover Abbottstown area around 5 to 6 p.m. That's something that I also saw as well. I'm surprised that they got it in, but with them pushing and continuing to not dick around and give proper effort to get it in, they got this in, and they should be rewarded for that. All right. I'm gonna let's go here. Caden, who you all got for the championship at Lincoln Speedway? Well, I'm glad you asked because we got the points right. Oh, wait. Well, before we do that, before we go to the points, Nash Ely with the 358 gets his first career 358 win. How was you said that feature looked pretty good? He gets the win over Steve Owings and Andy Best, Jaden Wolf, and Austin Reed in the top 5.
So Nash started on the outside of the front row. First start, Jaden Wolf was on the pole. Jaden beats him down in turn 1. There's something happens. They have a restart. Nash gets the come all 4. Jaden fired. Nash gets him, beats him all 4, takes the lead, leads every lap. That wasn't really the story of this race. That battle from second through about 8th was awesome. Owings coming up through. Andy Best was right on Nash for a minute. You had Fletcher. Fletcher spun out on the first lap. Cody Fletcher, and went from the back to the front. Fletcher did a 360 in front of the whole field, kept going. Nobody crashed. Couldn't believe it. But he went to the back to the front, was passing cars. Jaden Wolf had something on the right rear. Suspension broke. I thought the tire was flat for the whole race, but the actual suspension was broken. It was leaning on the right rear. He held on for 4th and was driving like a madman. Seth Schnoke doing Seth Schnoke things, ripping the top. It was entertaining. Like and listen, credit to Nash. He did his job and made it a boring race up front. Happy for him. Love that guy. First career win, right? Did his job, did everything he was supposed to do correctly. I was entertained. This was a good race from my seat where I was standing. And like we talked about last week, there's a lot of good talent in this division. And Steve Owings in a new car doing Steve Owings things and drove to the front of the field there. Maybe a late restart. He has something for Nash, maybe, but I'd have been okay with that to see that battle. But Nash did his job and super
Yes.
happy with Victor Lane and thrilled
Not
for
on
him.
camera. Sorry.
Jimmy, you are not muted.
Oh, my bad.
No, it's okay. I was thought you were coming back. You okay there, bud?
Yeah, I'm trying to get this earbud
Okay,
out of
all
my
good.
ear.
No worries. Jimmy's having a medical emergency on the street. We're good. But no, this was a good one. Michael Smith, saw him test at BAPS probably 3-4 weeks ago. Beautiful blue 76, blue and orange. Beautiful. Looks like it was hand painted. First race in a wing sprint. Ashley Capetta got to start up front. They missed the handle a little bit on the car. Tried to hang on there the best she could. But let's see here, a couple things. Flyers fan, surprised the amount of racing actually did happen. 100% true. Matt, remember COVID? How packed the tracks were, even when they weren't supposed to be. Yeah, like what happened? Like where'd everybody go? Right? It's almost like take it away. Take it away from us, and we'll go. But give us all the racing, and nobody's there. So. Hayden, where in Mexico Millard has been? Well, last I saw, he's selling all his shit. He done. He gone.
Yeah,
Uh,
it looks like it's all up for sale.
Looking, I guess he got a real job, trying to support himself, and racing isn't it anymore. So streaming and racing are on the back burner for at least right now. I think he's still in town, doing some power washing in the Devon Borden realm. I think maybe something I heard. The partnership. I don't know exactly, but I saw some parts for sale. So I think he gone. What else there? Jimmy, put it live, do it live. Don't be a bitch. Let's see. Okay, got it.
I just I have. I think I just shoved it back too far.
Oh, the other one I'm going to shout out, and I promise his twin brother. I'm not being paid to say this, but Eli Tuckey, 7th place, a solid top 10, battling with some 6th place, battling with some good race cars. Him and Tyler Rutherford had a good battle for a minute. Man, he just gets better and better. And narrow racetrack, heavy racetrack, and he started at the back of a heat, and there were some slower cars in front of him, and you could see him like setting up cars to make passes and doing what he had to do. It wasn't just throwing the car and doing things. He's going to be a good little race car driver. He gets more seat time and get going, and hopefully he continues to have a good time with it, keeps the car upright, doesn't tear it up. But he's going to continue to get better and better. So, but honestly a great overall night at Lincoln yet again.
Let's get into the point standings here. Troy Wagaman still leads 60 points over Freddie Raymer, who moves up to second. Matt Campbell stays in third, 90 points back. Aaron Bollinger it moves up to fourth, 160 points back. Danny Dietrich moves up to fifth, 220 points back. Chase Dietz is still there. He did not show up for this one. He falls down to sixth. Chad Trout, Tyler Ross, Brendan Rayburns, Jeff Halligan round out your top 10. Troy Wagaman, he really had to move up in his feature, and he continues to have top 10, top 5 finishes to kind of just continue to build this. I don't want to say build this points lead, but to maintain this points lead.
And Freddie was in front of Fred. Troy was in front of Freddie at one point. You let him go by, so Troy's washed. It's over. It's over for him.
Let's get into now. Let's take a look at the weather for this week.
No, Jimmy. No.
Well, we kind of have to.
All right.
It's looking better each day, because when I first originally was looking yesterday, I did not think we were going to get any racing in. Friday looks pretty much rain. So this whole Williams Grove versus Selinsgrove thing might be a moot point, because I don't know if either one are going to race. 51 degrees, couple inches of rain between Thursday and Saturday. It's looking like it's going to be pretty wet. 95% chance of rain on Friday. Saturday, Port Royal and Lincoln looks a little bit better. About 50% chance of rain, some showers. Looks like it'll be clearing up more towards the night. But with how much rain we're going to get here throughout this week, especially Thursday and Friday and Saturday morning, we'll see what happens. And then Sunday looked like it was going to probably maybe rain Sunday night, but now it's looking pretty good. Only 25% chance of rain, 56, mostly cloudy, maybe a little bit of sun in the afternoon. So BAPS has their 410 and wingless sportsman race, which we'll get to here in a second. That's looking pretty good for that. So again, Friday, Grove has 410s. It's a Yellow Breeches 500 race, 305 sprints, and then the 410 makeup feature from this past Friday, 7 p.m., $25. And then also on Friday, you have Selinsgrove, this is a hot topic that they're going against them. 410 sprints, super late models, and some fireworks. Their grand reopening of the Speedway under this new promotional regime should be interesting to see if this weather does clear out. Let's see what happens.
Jimmy, this is a PSA, public service announcement. For the last decade, everyone who hates Williams Grove Speedway has said, "Why doesn't someone run against them?"
Yeah, so they better be at
Here's a
Selinsgrove.
chance to put your money where your mouth has been the last decade. And if you don't go on Friday nights to Williams Grove and you don't support the track already, you better have your ass at Selinsgrove on Friday nights. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
Go support it. I don't care how you feel about the other racetrack, but you put your money where your mouth is all the last 10 years about what you don't like about one track. You better go support the other one that finally did it.
I agree with that, but at the same time, it doesn't have to be one versus the other necessarily, because I think we got enough 410s here.
Listen, I'm not putting a division up between people who already go to Williams Grove. Yeah. I'm saying the people that have complained for years and years and don't go on Friday nights and wish someone would do this, you got your chance. You got your chance. You better be up there, because I don't think it's taking one from the other in this case, but you better put your money where your mouth is. If you've been a complainer about this for the last decade or more, about all the things you don't like, you better get your ass up there and support the racetrack, because they're doing it. Somebody's doing it. You better support it.
And there's Friday nights are always tough, but there's enough sprint cars in the area around where both can get 20 cars. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Selinsgrove would be lucky to get 15, to be quite honest. 15 to 18, I think that would be a success. I think they'll get a full field of late models for sure, 24 to 26 or so. And, there's not that many of these races, Friday night races of 410s at both places. But, with them coming back and trying to make a name for themselves, this is what they're trying. If it doesn't work, then they won't do it. You know what I mean? But a lot of people have complained about, and Danny's been one of them, about having another option on a Friday night, not having to go all the way to like Lernerville or something. So this is, like Jeremy was saying, this is your chance. If you want to, go support this race. If you don't, then shut the hell up about Williams Grove on Friday nights. It's that simple.
Yep.
Saturday, Lincoln has 410s and USAC East Coast sprints.
Jimmy, move us off the screen or something. Nobody wants to see us.
Hold on.
Jimmy's my tech
There we
guy.
go.
He knows what's going on. There we go.
Yeah, so 410s and USAC East Coast at Lincoln on Saturday. USAC East Coast, that their season premiere, their season opener. And then Port Royal has the Lynn Paxton Tribute. This will be the first time trial show of the year, I believe. 410 sprints and super late models, 6 p.m., $25. You can catch that on Flow. And then Saturday, BAPS also has Super Sportsman Legend and Extreme Stocks, 4:30 p.m. for $15. They're the regular show. And then Sunday, 410s, limited late models, and wingless sportsmen for $25, 4:30 p.m., or catch it on Sprint Car Unlimited at BAPS Motor Speedway. That's probably our best day, but let's hope that this trend of this forecast continues to move in the right direction. We at least get 2 days of racing in. I think that would be good. I really would like to get to Port on Saturday to be personally. This inaugural Lynn Paxton tribute race with the 410s and the super late models. There'll be an Australian pursuit as well, so it should be an interesting night. So yeah, that's where I plan to be on Saturday, and I'll be at Selinsgrove on Friday, and I'm up in the air in BAPS on Sunday. Yeah, that's where I'm at on that. Moving also here, looking to some better weather Friday and Saturday. The All-Star Circuit of Champions comes back with their grand return 2-night show Friday and Saturday at Attica Raceway Park. Right now, the forecast there looks like it's going to be 54 degrees, clear and sunny, 0% chance of rain. So something that I did see Danny say in one of his other previous things was like, hey, if the weather doesn't look good, we might go out of state. So with the way the forecast is looking, you might see some PA guys make this trip out to Attica, because it's looking pretty good there. High limit, no racing until the 30th now, so they are done for the next pretty much the entire. They're done for the entire month basically. And then the World of Outlaws takes a 2-night trip to I-55. This is usually a pretty popular race as well. 60 degrees, partly cloudy, very little chance of rain at all. So that looks like a pretty good option too if you have teams that might look to travel and get away from this weather. So some good options out there. I'm hoping that here in PA we get a better forecast and we're able to at least, I'd like to see all 3 nights get in, but I'd at least I'd settle with Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, any thoughts on the schedule this upcoming week, JZ?
No, lots of thoughts, my friend. All this bitching and complaining ain't gonna matter on Friday. Probably anyway. Sunday's our chance in Central PA to probably get a race in. Maybe we'll see. I mean, it's Monday, right? It's changed all week, every week as we've gone. Very, very few of them have kind of, hey, on Monday, this is what it ended up being on Friday. I think one week it was like, yeah, that ended up being the perfect call, Monday to Friday. But otherwise, things change. But based on everything I'm seeing, this is the last gasp of winter slash
Yeah.
early spring around here. We're obviously going to have rainy weekends. We're going to have things. But as I look at the forecast as we go forward, we get through this week, starting like Sunday, Monday next week, 60s, almost 70 degrees. It breaks a little bit. We might get some of that like actual spring going on. Not this late winter. Like it's supposed to be 25 down here. I mean, what's it going to be up there for you tomorrow night? Super cold.
I had to kick the heat on tonight because it's going to be pretty
Yeah.
cold.
Yeah.
It's gonna be in the
So
20s.
this is like the last gasp of winter on the East Coast this week. Starting today, really, it was pretty freaking cold this morning, even. But as we look at it, we'll see how it goes as we get to it. But I don't know what I'm doing this weekend. There's 3 races. If all of them go off, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. Probably Williams Grove, Link. I kind of want to go to Port, but we'll see how the day goes. Right? Again, it's the weather,
Yep.
travel, 40-minute drive versus an hour and a half drive. But Sunday's BAPS, baby. It's wingless sportsman. It's 410s. It's another 410 show at BAPS. I'm here for it. That's the only one that looks mildly promising. But if we get multiple inches of rain, it ain't going to happen either. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But this right here, this I-55, Joey was in the chat. Where's he at? See
Oh yeah,
Joey?
yeah.
Put that on the screen. What do you mean, Joey? What kind of help do you need to get to I-55?
Yeah.
Like
Joey
soft
MNT asks is
help?
if
You don't have
anybody here is interested. I need some help to go to
is that
I-55.
true help? You need someone to drive a truck. You need a truck. You don't know where it is. You need a map. Like, what kind of help you need there, my friend? Hit up Joey if you're looking to go do something this weekend. I don't know what he's looking for. Maybe it's a CDL or a mud scraper. Could be any of them. But I mean, I could scrape mud. I don't know. What's I-55 like? I'm in. Let's go. We going. So, go back actually. The All Stars, is that Friday, Saturday?
Yes, that is also Friday, Saturday. Really good weather there.
So if I didn't have a family,
Yeah, I would be going to this.
I'd
If
be
I
going
didn't
to
have,
this.
yeah.
I've been wanting to go to Attica forever. I love I see pictures of Attica. Rick Rare is like a Western PA, Ohio photographer with WRT, does great work. And man, like the angles at Attica that you can get and different like the perspectives. And man, I want to go see a race there. This would be perfect. This would be great. And I would love to go. So if I didn't have a life or responsibilities or things going on, I would go to Attica this weekend if it looks shitty. So yeah, Dallas, listen, buddy, you might be right on that. I don't know if anyone in our audience is able to help him. So, yeah, Brad can help. Brad could tow the hauler with his,
And
but
Alex
no,
says Joey should go to Attica.
Jimmy, I got to be honest too. I won't be that upset if we don't see any racing in Central PA and I get to stream racing all weekend from other places.
Yeah,
I,
I'm not. Yeah.
like this is a cool weekend, I think, all the way around
That's
for
what I'm
all the
saying.
series
Between
between
Attica and
All Stars.
I-55.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Attica and I-55. If I'm going to be on the couch and be a bum, I'm going to stream some racing all weekend and NASCAR's at Bristol, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, come
Yeah,
on,
that's a
this
good
is a pretty
weekend.
good weekend for not
Yeah.
Central PA racing.
Yeah.
Just saying, if we're going to be stuck without an option, there's some pretty good options.
Absolutely. Yeah, and like I'm with you. I'd like to get to Attica one day, and this would be a great chance, to go for the All Stars. But maybe a Saturday. I don't know. That's a pretty far trip to make for one night. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to do Friday, but yeah. So I think that's it, right? Drink it or dump it. Let's hear what
Cool.
you guys think. Drink it for something that someone you want to give a shout out to, and dump it to somebody who maybe didn't have a great weekend. I'll start. I'll drink it to. I'm gonna drink it to the tracks for trying and getting what they can in, and taking the heat on the chin, and doing the right thing by trying to actually get these races in, even though the weather says they shouldn't. I'll give them a shout out for sure. I mean, just they did what they can in not great conditions. It's April. What do we expect? Um, and going against what they would normally think now when, with the crowds not being as they were, and we could dump it to that. Maybe the crowds not being what we anticipated, when they go and cancel on Thursday this week because it looks like a chance of rain, don't be bitching. You know what I mean? It's just that simple. That's where I'm going to leave that one there.
All right. Drink it. I'm going way off center here. And the same thing I've given Chris shit for on this show or other people, I'm going to now go ahead and do. So call me the Mr. Hypocrite this week. It's not the same, but it's similar. I'm drinking it to William Byron because
Okay.
he stunk up the show at Darlington in the best way possible. And I heard it. I kind of was watching it from a distance. I was busy doing this and that, but like you go to Darlington, you lead all those laps. I know he didn't win the race and he finished second, whatever. The end was the end. But most of the time people would see that and go, that's a shitty race. No, my friends. That's an old school race that y'all wish you wanted to
I
see, and you want
agree.
to see in tires and tire fall off and conservation, stage racing or not. He whooped their asses all day at a track that you don't do that often at, and I'm here for it. That's my drink it. And if anyone voted no on Gluck's poll about great race, you're a
Dude,
fool.
it's over 50% no, and I don't
Oh,
understand how. It's so ridiculous.
because the people that say that they want something and then they get it, they don't like it.
The overall arching I think here's what I think the overall arching theme of tonight's episode is, because that kind of piggybacks on it. Race fans don't know what they want.
Yeah.
They don't know what they want.
Yeah.
They'll say they want one thing, they get it, and they don't like it.
And listen, I guess I have a different perspective now because I don't have a favorite driver, and my favorite driver wasn't getting his ass kicked all day. So maybe my perspective is that was an ass kicking that we haven't seen in a long time, and whether I have a favorite or not, like I think people we obviously we get emotionally involved. It's just like your one favorite team, right? You're rooting for your team against that one team. In NASCAR and in racing, you have one driver fighting against all the other drivers, and you're the only happy if your one guy wins against all of them, right? And it's hard to do in a baseball game and in a football game. You get one winner and one loser, period. In
Right.
racing, you get one winner and up to 30 or 40 losers every single week. So, what William Byron did, I don't even like Hendrick. I don't like any of those guys, to be honest, but he whooped their asses all day, and it was cool to see on a track that changes and things come and go. We saw the field flip, right, Jimmy? You guys, I was busy
Yep.
you doing shit. You guys were watching the race, and didn't I say, hey, it's going to flip? The field's going to flip. But Byron was always there. It didn't matter what happened. He was that good, did the right things, and stayed up front. 253 laps at Darlington? That's
Yeah.
insanity,
Yeah.
right? So drinking it to that, that's my rant. That's my only NASCAR rant of the year, I hope, in a good way. Dump it. Man, listen. I already did this once for this guy this year, and I can't believe I'm doing it again. But somebody has to take the black cloud off Samuel Miller. He had an entire top wing blow off his race car at Williams Grove, 3/4 of the way down the front stretch at full speed, and didn't crash. Thank God. Like,
Jeez, yeah.
holy crap. Like, think about that. Top wing gone, poof, gone off the race car. It's now a wingless car at full speed. It's not set up to be a wingless car. Thankfully, he wasn't hurt, but hopefully they get the black cloud off of them. He can get back to doing some racing and improving his craft and get better. The guy doesn't have a lot of seat time as it is. He's a young guy, so dump it to that. Yeah, listen, Santos. Do I like Kyle Larson? I actually I do, but I don't like go into a race going I'm rooting for Kyle Larson. If that makes sense, like I'll root for Kyle to a point, and if he wins, I'm not upset about it. I'm also not like, oh my god, I can't believe it. I'm not doing a Coke shower in my bathtub like on TikTok or something. So, but um, yeah, Jeremy Spearline, put that on the screen. This happened today. This is
Yeah.
very late notice. Um, listen, there was a photographer, young girl, Megan. She does social media in her real life, and she's at her real job, and then on the weekend she's supporting some teams. I think Barry Shearer Racing with Lance Deweese, the 23 Stamen team doing their social media. She had a lens stolen at Williams Grove Friday night. Some you can put any word you want in the type of person that did it, whoever did it. Took a lens out of her bag. It's $2,000 lens. I know what that feels like to invest in that and not really ever recoup that kind of money, or never, like, you're out there doing it because you love it. And, especially in racing, we're not making that money back, period. We do it because we love it. She had it stolen from her. So dump it for that for sure. That should never happen. And I'll be honest with you, just straight up opinion. There were too many photographers at Williams Grove Friday night on an opening night. There's too many people with vests on that got approved to be out there. There's a point where it's too much, and there were people I never met. I don't know. And it cycles through every year, but there were the regulars, and then there were all these extra people. There was just too much going on, too many people, in my opinion. Just my opinion. I don't want to ever gatekeep anybody from it, but there's a point. There's a point where it's like, why are there so many out here? But somebody, whether it's a fan or another person in that world, I don't want it to be anyone, stole this message. But someone asked for her Venmo. As of a few minutes ago, she got enough in her Venmo to recoup and purchase another lens to replace it. So shout out to the community. I think that post got shared over 300 times in the last few hours. She got her Venmo up there. It looks like she'll have the funds to replace that lens. So shout out. And also Troy Junkins, there it is, Santos. Troy actually has the lens that matches up to her camera. She shoots Canon. I have the lens, basically the same lens she has, but in Sony. I have the Sony version, so I can't let her use it. But Troy offered up a lens to let her use it until she gets hers ordered. So listen, that community it's an interesting community. But listen, when at the same time, it is a community. Good, bad, or indifferent. The group of people that I've got to meet, there's way more good than nefarious or bad people in it. It is a community. When you get to know these people, they'll do these things. So shout out to people that supported Megan and Troy for doing that. So I know that's a little bit ranty, but it was worth it. That's all I got, my friend.
Yeah, that's gonna be it. Again, make
No,
sure.
it's not it. It's not it,
What?
Jimmy. It's not it.
What's up?
Sterner's coming up. Lincoln.
Yes.
Sterner Memorial. Ashley Capetta. We'll probably get her on here. Maybe I don't even know if we're gonna have time. Ashley's put a lot of work into the Sterner at Lincoln Speedway. It's a big one. Get there. Also, we will be live on site coming up in May. Fallen firefighter tribute race on site. T2T. Part of the festivities. Don't come there for us. Come there for that. We're going to be idiots doing things, interviewing people, being loud and noisy. Jimmy, close us out.
Yeah, I would like to get to all you drinking at Dumpets, but I really got to get out of here and try to get this freaking thing out of my ear. I can't hear anything. So
out of there?
Thanks everybody. Thanks to Ricky Peterson. Thanks to Brad Wetherbee for coming on. Thanks to everybody for checking us out tonight. And we will see you next week.